Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. I'm Deanne Castro, Creative Memories Advisor of Bakersfield, California. And today I just want to put out a little bit of a challenge for all of you before we get started on this really fun scrapbook page. As I'm thinking, as I'm recording this, Christmas is about 3 weeks away. And I'm looking ahead at all the events and all the things we're doing. My grandson's very first birthday and his birthday party, and uh, my other grandkids, one of them's doing things at school. And I just wanted to stop and reflect and challenge you with the challenge I'm challenging myself. It's so easy to get wrapped up in all of the things we're doing and have to get done before Christmas arrives. And I want to challenge myself to be present. It's easy to think, oh my gosh, I need to be doing this or I need to be doing that. And I haven't got this done yet. And I haven't got that done yet. And then if I'm spending time with my grandkids or my kids, and I just want to be present when I'm with them. There's all kinds of things going on before Christmas. And I want to be able to drop whatever I've got going spinning in my brain and just spend time and enjoy being with them. Because as you all know, time goes by so fast and kids grow up so fast. And instead of being busy trying to figure out what my next idea is going to be, or what else I'm going to be doing, going to Crop and Connect in February, what I'm teaching, I just want to stop and enjoy the minutes with my family and not let anything else push into the way and push them out of the way. You know what I mean? So my challenge to you is the same challenge for me this year, is to be present. And as you look back then on the pages you're creating with the photos, that you can really feel like you were there with them and not letting something else challenge your time or your attention. All right? So thanks for hanging in there. I just wanted to share my challenge and hope I can encourage you guys to do the same thing. So today I'm going to be doing a page that Brenda Rose created for the Creative Memories blog, and I have loved it ever since it came out, which was like 2 months ago now. It showed up on the blog on October 6th, and I loved it then. I've seen a few other people do the same thing and show you the technique. So I'm just going to show it to you today with something just a little different. Okay, let's go over to my table. And this is the page. Now, this is not the original page. This is the original page, but I did a little bit different paper. Otherwise, it's pretty much the same. This one, I really liked this paper because I just fussy cut this out. And then I made it bigger than what the directions said. So this wasn't quite as wide, but it is also a little bit bigger because I wanted to take up more space on the page as opposed to just having a little bit of room for my photos and a lot of decoration. So here I did make these bigger and I moved this up further and then had this down here. Now I used the molten lava paper. This is the cranberry molten lava, and this hiding under here is the dark green molten lava. So isn't that paper so pretty? I know there's still some more out there. I still have some. So get a hold of your advisor if you don't have any and get some of this really amazing paper, but it's no longer on the website. Okay, so there's one page. And then here's the other one. Now, what I liked about this one is that if you use like a bold tip pen or another type of pen that shows up really well, that's not a super fine point, you can add just little dots in between the embellishments, and it really shows up and just adds that little extra decorative touch to your page. So this used a couple of embellishments later, and then this one is just one embellishment, but it was a lot. but then adding in a little bit of decoration along with the paper makes a really pretty page. So what I'm going to be using today is this paper, this poinsettia paper. This is all from the Magic of Christmas paper pack. And I'm going to be using this one again just because I loved it. It really provided a lot of dimension between the two papers. This is the back. It's got some yellow stars type of thing on it. And then bright white cardstock. Now, I wouldn't have chosen the bright white just because I kind of think, well, it doesn't need to be super bright white because you're going to be covering up. But it really adds a lot when you're doing this particular page. Okay. And then I've got an embellishment around here somewhere that I'm going to use. But what I want to show you is using these two new tools. These are the different little wavy tools, and they are still available from your advisor. Okay. And they use the 3 different blades that our other custom cutting system has. So it also comes with templates that show you the baseline of the template if you use the red, the green, and or the blue blade on these. And you've got 4 different patterns. You've got just a easy wave. You've got kind of like a bracket on this one. I think I used this last week. And then you've got this that looks like some hard angles, but they don't end up being hard, really. Can you guys see that? Kind of hard to see it with the glare. And then this one just kind of goes out and then in. Okay, just a slight protrusion. Is that a word? Not really an indentation. It's the opposite of that. And these are really cool because these are brand new and they're going to fit right on the outside of your 13-inch mat. So they've got a little bit of a raised area right here. So this will fit over your mat, and then this will then be down onto the table right here. So it holds it in place. So it won't really wobble on you a whole lot. It's really easy to hold in place. And then you just use your blades. And these have little knobs on them that go in the outside grooves. Okay, so this groove right here. So you'll put these knobs in that groove, and then it will cut along these wavy edges. These are so cool. I really like these. Okay, but I'm not going to use that one. I'm going to use the other one today. Okay, so I'm going to leave this out so I remember to use it. And we're going to cut the other papers first. So first, you're going to cut the piece that you want on the bottom, and that's going to be this poinsettia paper that I'm going to use. And this is originally it's a 12 by 4 piece, but I'm actually going to make it 5 or 5.5. I think I'm just going to make it like 5.5, make it a little bit bigger. It's going to take up more room on the page, but that's all right. Because then I'm just going to put my more room for my photos on there. Okay. This one that's going to go on top. Oh, come out from under there. Okay. This one was originally a 12 by 3 piece. I am going to make it a 12 by 4. Just a little bit bigger. And I'm just going to do a 4.5. And if it's too much, then I'll just fold it underneath. Okay, so originally they were supposed to be 12 by 4 and 12 by 3, but I've made them a little bit bigger. So you guys can decide what size you want, depending on how many photos you may have and that kind of thing. Okay, so this one is going to be adhered closer to the bottom of the page. And so I'm going to put my adhesive on. Okay, and the instructions say to put it up 2.5 inches from the bottom. So that's a little high for me. I'm actually going to put it up 1.5 inches. Okay, now I'm going to take this one, put the adhesive on this one, and just see how high it goes if I put it right here on the top. Okay, that's a little high, so I didn't really need to make it that big. So I'm going to move it down a little bit. Okay, so it makes it just about pretty much equal here. And that kind of defeats the purpose of what we're going to be doing. So, because this needs to be a little bit smaller. So I think what I'm going to do is I am going to cut some of that off. Sorry guys, but you're seeing me kind of think through this a little more. Because I like to vary the sizes. If it works, it's great. If it doesn't work, that's fine too. And you can just make modifications from there. But I don't want to cut it too small because then I can't make as many modifications on it as I want. So I'm actually making this 3.5 instead of the 4.5. Add a little more adhesive onto here. And I can put it right along the edge there, which is right at that 7 inches. But then it depends on what I'm putting on the top. So let me see what I have planned. I have these two embellishments that I've just kind of woven this around. I just thought that was pretty. So if I put that up here, it's going to take it all the way to the top. Doesn't give us a whole lot of room there. I think I'm going to move this down just a little bit. I'm going to move it down 1/2 inch. Okay, which gives us just a little bit more room up here to move this kind of around. What do you think? I like it. I think that looks good because then we're going to put something else down here on the bottom. So since I already kind of wrapped this around, it was a little difficult. I had to kind of start in the middle. So I just kind of put it here in the middle and then wrapped these just a little bit. Not exactly wrap it around because it didn't really work very well that way, but it did make it really pretty when I just wrapped it partially that way. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on the top. Kind of center it on there. Okay. Now this does stick out a little bit on each side because it just didn't, match perfectly, but that's okay. It just gives it a little bit of different dimension. Now I can take this. This is our gold tip pen, and it has two different sizes. One is a bold tip and one is a fine tip on here, and you can actually use both of these. But I'm just going to put lightly some little dots. And in the old days, 3 little dots really added to what we're working with. It just made things so pretty. And now I think I'm just going to put some smaller dots just in other little areas, just trying to fill it in just a little bit. Okay, so here's what I did. These, you can't really tell a whole lot. These were the smaller side. This was the fine tip. This was the bold tip. I could have pressed these down a little harder so that they were bigger, but I just want a little bit of decoration, not a whole lot. Okay, now, got a couple of things stuck under there. I'm going to take this cranberry paper and I'm going to put just a very small 1/8 of an inch strip up on the top and on the bottom. So if you've got this trimmer, 1/8 of an inch is this little dotted line here on the right from where the cutting blade is there on the left. So I'm just going to line this up and cut two small 1/8 of an inch strips. And it's going to want to move on you. So hold it down tight. And I'm going to do two of those. Okay. Just going to put a little bit of adhesive on them. And I used just the cranberry cardstock with these. You can do any color you want. If you wanted to do a green or something to pull out the green out the poinsettias, that would be really pretty too. And I'm just going to put this right on the top of this paper. And I'm going to put this one right along the bottom of the bottom paper. And just push it right up along that edge. Now, sometimes the cardstock is a little bit wider than the paper like this is. So I'm just going to take this and I'm just going to trim off this little piece right off the edge. Okay. Now I'm going to try something a little different here on the bottom. I'm going to take this tool and I'm going to just use a small piece of the cranberry. So you don't need full sheets of paper to do this. And I think I'm just going to do it the other way. I'm going to cut off that. Oh, that's not straight. So I'm going to do this. Okay. Now, the fun thing about these tools is they have these little marks right here on the edge. Can you see those? Those little marks right there. There's 3 on the top and the bottom. That will help you line up where the red, the green, and the blue blade are actually going to cut on both sides of these. Okay, so you can see those 3 lines there, those 3 lines there. So I'm going to take one cut here, and I just want to trim a little bit off this edge, and then I'm going to cut another couple of pieces. So here again, I'm going to take this red blade, I'm going to put it in here in the groove, and I'm just going to gently, and it likes to get in a hurry, and just cut this piece. Okay, so now I've got that cut off. I don't need that, but I could actually use this for a different type of a border and just put a couple of embellishments in here. That would be really cute. Okay, so I'm going to move this down about 1/4 of an inch. Kind of make sure that the lines are lined up on either side here. And it's going to actually cut about 1/8 of an inch because this blade is going to cut it a little wide, little wider than the actual edge of the pattern. Okay, there's one piece. And I'm going to do that again. So see, you don't need a lot of paper to do this. It looks like it's going to cut a lot more, but got it lined up on either side here. It does cut out about 1/8 of an inch from the pattern there. So, and this one's going to be a little bigger. Okay, that's a little bigger. So let me see if I've got just enough to do another smaller piece so I can get them to match. And I have a hard time just on this right-hand side here, as you can tell. But then when I get my arm back in the right spot, there we go. Okay. So I've got a couple pieces here. Trim this up a little bit. Sticking to my shirt. Got a little bit of a double cut there, so I'm just trimming this off just a tiny bit. Don't want to cut too much there. There we go. Okay, now I've got another little piece I could use on something else later. Now, what I'm thinking is, where's my page? Put this back here. And I'm thinking of doing something like this. And then turning this one around the other way, where they will cross a little bit like this. Now this edge, you can tell it's not even, but that's okay because I'm going to put a sticker across the top of it. It's going to look about like that. And then I think I'm going to put this 12-inch sticker across it. We'll see how that looks. Okay. So I'll put this down first. Right there. And I'm going to take the other one. Turn it the other way and cross it here. I'm going to make it a little bigger because that is going to come down. So it's only going to show a little bit on the outside, I think, of the sticker. So let's see what this sticker is going to look like. Is it too big? Let's see. Does it stick out good enough? Not much. It's a little big. So I'm going to move this out a little bit. So I'll put that to where it just goes almost to the top there. Okay, now let's see what the sticker looks like going across. There, and it just pops out just a little bit around it. Okay, and trim off a little bit extra. There we go. Now we can add an embellishment or two. And I think I'm just going to put this right there and just leave it. I think the one is just perfect. You can add a few others if you'd like. I'm just going to put this one present to remind me to be present with my family every minute before Christmas and then during Christmas, of course. But just be present with my family and not worry about anything else that may not be getting done or what I think I need to get done. There really isn't that important. There we go. Okay, so we can add a couple of photos. We can actually put 3.5 by 5s across here. And then you can do a second page that can just flow across because you saw how easy that was. And then you could do the same thing with this down here. And then you can add another couple of photos. How big is this? See if I move this up a little bit. Okay, and then I can fit another couple of these on the bottom, like right here. It all depends on what size you're actually cutting your photos into. Okay, and then leave a spot for journaling. Okay, there again, just tell about the who, what, when, where, who you were spending your time with, and how much they meant to you this Christmas season. Okay, thanks so much for hanging in there with me today, guys. Hope you have an amazing, great day and a blessed week, and I will see you again next week. Enjoy. Bye.